Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting for New Britain Township for September 15th, 2025. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board met in executive session before this meeting to discuss personnel and litigation matters. First item on our agenda tonight is the presentation from the Walnut Street Hanover Company concept plan. Come take a seat at this table.
Good evening. I'm Greg Edelman here on behalf of the Hanover Company. Thank you for allowing us to make a presentation this evening. We're here this evening with respect to a property that we have shown up here on the board. It's approximately 3 lots of approximately 85 total acres or so, zoned in your IO district, your industrial office park district. The proposal from Hanover is to develop these properties into 3 separate warehouse facilities. And what we wanted to do this evening was present to the supervisors what that conceptual plan looks like at this time. Nothing has been formally submitted or fully engineered. I don't know if you can change it for me, but the location, as you all know, is on Walnut Street, bounded by Schoolhouse Lane and County Line Road. Also on the northwestern side of it, it actually backs up to properties on Independence Lane where you have your existing industrial park. What's shown on the plan here, very briefly, are 3 separate warehouse buildings, 1 on each lot. There are 3 lots. The first lot is the lot 1, what we've called, that's the larger building. That building is approximately, I believe, 339,000 square feet shown on that board. It accesses directly to Walnut Street, shows all of the associated parking as well as trailer parking, stormwater, et cetera, that would ordinarily be part of land development under your ordinance. The second lot, which is the one to the left or the west as you get closer to County Line, that is approximately 100,000 square feet in size. That one's also accessing just Walnut Street. We didn't propose any access out to County Line as part of that building. The third building on lot 3, which is the one in the northwest corner, that one is 115,000 square feet or so, approximately. And that we're showing access coming into the industrial park through an existing right-of-way that the township took dedication from a prior developer's project. So that way it connects directly to Independence Lane. There is another access that's available that takes you out to, I believe, Stewart, but we didn't show that there. We thought it made more sense to try to go up through Independence at this point. Overall, the project obviously is in the beginning stages. We've been doing a lot of due diligence with respect to the site. You can see the site is traversed by the, I believe it's a west branch of the Neshaminy Creek. That's also a tributary that comes down into that west branch of Neshaminy Creek. And so there are a lot of natural resources on the property, which we have endeavored to stay out of. In fact, if you look at each one of the lots based on our initial calculations, we're looking at very low building coverage ratios of about 19.5%, 17.3%, and 8.2%, where 50% is permitted in your district. So we're not even looking at half of these properties being covered by buildings. And the impervious surface ratios are very similar. Your ordinance permits 65%. We're looking at 38% or so on one lot, 42% on another, and 22.6% or so on a third. So overall, these sites are not being developed to the maximum extent possible under your ordinance, and that's really to honor and protect the natural resources on the property. 2 zoning issues that have come up in our due diligence. that we'd like to present to the board and just get some feedback on if you're willing to give it to us. One is the maximum building height. Your ordinance in the IO district only permits a warehouse to be 35 feet high. In today's environment with all of the racking systems and automated operations in a warehouse, we need something that's a little bit higher. We're looking at a building that's approximately 49 and a half feet, which allows us to have a clear height inside the building below the racking of 42 feet. So we'd be looking for some type of zoning relief before the zoning hearing board. I believe height has been given a variance before in some of the other industrial uses, but we wanted to present that to the board before we filed anything to get your feedback. The other zoning relief that we see possibly is necessary here is adding some fill in the floodplain in the corner of Building 2, Lot 2, to raise a small portion of that property up out of the floodplain. Now, your ordinance permits that by special exception. It has certain requirements with respect to the type of fill that you can put in the floodplain. That would redelineate the floodplain, basically bringing the base elevation up out of your flood zone that FEMA requires you to have. So it would require review by the township. It would require review and approval by FEMA in order to do it. And that process, as your engineer will tell you, involves some type of letter of map amendment. This one, we'd be looking for a CLOMR, which is a conditional letter of map amendment. You would bring the fill in, put it into the area, raise it up, do all the calculations in terms of base flood elevation, making sure there's no adverse impacts. Township reviews it, FEMA reviews it, and then the building goes basically on a slab or a very shallow foundation above that area. So there's a small portion in the left side that we would be seeking a special exception for in order to have that building. Overall, when we get into the full land development for the project, obviously we'll be analyzing all the traffic impacts through traffic impact study. We'd be talking about anything else under your ordinance, obviously sidewalks and other types of road frontage improvements along Walnut Street, Park and Rec. We'd be looking at obviously stormwater being a very big issue here in the township. So we'd be looking at that in concert with DEP and Bucks County Conservation District. So that's an initial overview. We do have more detail, some of it, but not fully engineered. We have the rest of our team here as well that can answer any initial questions you might have, but we thought it would be very helpful to present this to you this evening before we decided to move forward with any type of zoning application.
Madam Chair, can I just?
Sure.
Just to clarify. Gentlemen said.
Yes.
I understand about the map revision of FEMA, but
Right.
your sketch plan you submitted showed on the corner lot there, Walnut
Mhm.
and County Line Road by the intersection. Currently, part of the building and the parking in the back is in the floodplain.
So the building itself won't be in the floodplain when it's constructed. The fill will actually bring it up out of the floodplain before that building is constructed. There was a question I asked before I showed up tonight.
Concept plan.
Shows them both in there. That is correct. I am aware, and that's one of the things if the building had a deep foundation where you put the foundation into the ground before the fill was brought up, then that building would be in the floodplain.
As shown.
That's right. So what you see there is correct. And I had the same question today, Craig. So I talked to a client about it, is that we're looking at putting a building that's going to be pretty much slab on grade. So the ground will have to be brought up first before that building foundation goes in. So at that point, you'll know that this is already out of the floodplain. If we did it a different way, totally agree with what your letter had said when you looked at it and you commented on it. It would be in the floodplain if you have a deep foundation.
So layman's terms, in case anybody asks on both sides here, yes, they're asking to modify it in the floodplain line.
That's right.
That is shown on FEMA's map and the township maps. And that would have to go through review. That is permitted, but we have to have sign off.
Yep. Mhm.
The township, with pretty much everybody. believes.
That's right. That's right.
So,
It's a process, as I'm sure you're aware.
we have not had one of those.
So that would you're talking about filling in wetlands.
No, there's no wetlands there. So the flood map that FEMA makes every township have
Right.
in order to be eligible for flood insurance delineates what they consider to be flood zones based on stream stats and all different types of downstream conveyance. It gets redelineated all the time based upon calculated studies that these people do that I don't, the HEC-RAS analysis, right? And they also allow certain changes within the floodplain zone in order to redelineate. And one of them is placing a fill. But there's certain things you have to do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good examples of one where people want to add on to the
Yep.
back of their house
Yep.
for business. There'll be a small amount of controlled fill that would affect the Delaware River.
Yep.
Floodplain, floodway.
That's right.
And there are called letter of map revisions. So every property owner wants to do that. I've
Okay.
a lot of those.
Mhm.
So as communities up and down the river, it's more of a letter of map revision. You're selling, and I have not seen one of those come through. So
Right.
It's still the same process.
That's right.
They're asking to, based on their proposed improvements, change the boundary, and they have to analyze the whole area. Basically determine what changes affect other adjacent.
Yeah,
properties.
and we can't adversely affect somewhere else downstream or around the area.
That'd be a concern because we have
Be my next question, yeah.
a pretty serious flooding issue on County Line Road.
Right.
With heavy rains that Chief could probably better address about the concerns that's required some rescues and things. So we don't want to make that any worse than it would be.
Yeah, let's say we don't want to contribute to that.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, and one of the other things we can look at as we get further into land development here is, are there certain, vegetative improvements that we can make to the areas behind the warehouse up to the stream corridors that can also help with downstream erosion? For instance, taking the property out of farming and putting in some type of wildflower seed mix that grows could actually help reduce the amount of runoff that comes off the property. If you notice, we're not going into the areas where it's farmed, right? We're keeping those undeveloped. They can be changed out of rotating crops. So, because of course at some time when the crops are gone, you've got mud and nothing. You can put it into some type of more perennial type planting. So there's other things that we can look at that can also help the watershed. And I'm sure Craig's got some suggestions as they've done that type of riparian improvement before for many townships. So,
As far as our new ordinances have,
yeah. And that's right. And I think that I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, that's what you want to do in your riparian corridors. You want to make sure that they have been enhanced and or are stable so that anything that's running off of that gets better control. We can. There's been no decisions about what to have happen back there.
okay, so the area that's off of Stewart Lane,
Right,
that has been farmed.
right.
But the area along Walnut that's previously been farmed, you're proposing to build on.
Right, except to the rear you can see kind of the outline of the farm fields. Those areas won't be touched, so they could still continue to be farmed behind the proposed structures and parking before you get to the riparian
Have
corridor.
handouts, do you? That we could look at?
Yes, sorry about that.
So we're all like looking, trying
Go
to
ahead.
figure out what is different from,
I see a pond type thing that I'm assuming is right on the edge of schoolhouse.
The stormwater basin, that's correct. That would be, we made it blue, it's not swimmable. Maybe we should make it a little more gray in color, but it is a proposed stormwater pond. And we have another one that we're showing conceptually over by lot 3 on the other side as well. That's just where we believe the low points will be and will convey the stormwater for management purposes.
Okay. I'm just going to say to begin the discussion that I think we all have concerns as expressed to us by our engineer. So before we comment, I'm going to open it to public comment.
Sure.
thank you.
If anyone here would like to has any comments.
Would you like me to move out of here so they can use the microphone?
No,
No, we have another one.
Perfect.
We'll just
Great.
turn it.
thank you, Scott.
A concern that I have, Carol Weston Young, 834 Ferry Road, New Britain Township resident. I'm concerned about the amount of thousands of feet of impervious surface and runoff from those buildings.
Mhm.
Right now, yes, it's just mud, but mud is better than concrete as far as absorbing all this water. And that is a huge amount. And the water, I believe, runs towards the park, runs towards the houses. I see a lot of problems with this, actually. You have parking lot right there by the storm basin. How many vehicles are you going to be having coming in and out? And what is it that you're housing in your warehouse?
Well, we haven't proposed any type of specific warehouse user.
So this
yet.
is a spec. You don't even have a person.
At this moment, yes. Yeah, at this moment, yeah. And that's typically what happens with these types of projects. Typically, you get the box approved. And then when you look at the traffic, you look at a specific type of warehouse traffic. So we're looking at general warehouse, right, Guy, where are you? Right, so we're looking at general warehouse, and we're not looking at a last mile fulfillment center or anything like that. You know, it's not like in a big Amazon warehouse where people are coming in and out packages all the time. This is general warehousing. So that traffic then plays into the traffic analysis that the township reviews, and ultimately PennDOT will probably review because of County Line and Walnut. But from the stormwater perspective, we obviously have all the regulations in place that we have to meet. That requires us to handle some decrease in the
But we
amount.
are having greater rain events,
Right.
fewer rain events, but more water.
So DEP just revised its stormwater regulations again, in particular for certain types of basins. Are we doing MRC here?
So these will be.
Yeah, this is Lindsay, by the way.
Hi,
I'm
Lindsay.
Lindsay Berlinger with Bowler, the civil engineer for the project. So we are looking at stormwater calculations currently, but we're anticipating some basins will be infiltrating basins. So they'll percolate into the ground, and other basins will hold back the water significantly before releasing. And all of the drainage it flows to the creek. So, but we are required by.
Roll runs downhill, so that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, so we are required to follow your township code, DEP, Conservation District, all of the regulations. And your township code does require us to reduce significantly the rates and volume before anything goes towards the creek.
I'll have to think about it. Thank you.
Dorman.
I'll just add on to that. So what she mentioned there was the Britain Township's ordinances every municipality can adopt or modify the model ordinances. Ours are a little stricter. I'm sure Lindsay,
Yes,
Lindsay
they
will
are.
know, yeah, she'll say that out loud in public. We're a lot tougher on stormwater management here than I think a lot of people realized years ago, but back when we established those ordinances, we went beyond what the model ordinance was that the county pushed out. So for example, don't quote me this, but like, for example, what she mentioned was 100-year event in pre-development has to be reduced. I think it's down to 50-year in post. So that's a huge reduction. You don't have that in every township, in every community. A lot adopt it. So they're actually reducing well beyond the original county ordinance. Doesn't mean that there's not impervious. I think you're well below the impervious.
Yes.
We are.
Very much.
So they will actually reduce post-development flow back from 100-year down to 50-year pre-development condition.
Anybody else?
Mary Margaret Briggs, 245 Forest Park Drive in Chalfont. I'm a resident of the township. I do have a question, actually. It's probably for you.
So they're on their own.
So, I mean, I've heard the argument here about by right and how much you're allowed. But I'm also looking at the Bucks County parcel and floodplain viewer here. And just ballparking, absolute ballpark. I'm looking at 26001-099, just that lot. And it looks like 30% roughly is in floodway, whereas 45% is about flood hazard by their definition. 002 is probably about 30% floodway, 50% flood hazard. 001 30% floodway, 60% flood hazard. 003 is probably about 25% floodway, 40% flood hazard. So my question to you, Craig, and maybe everyone else here, if by right they have 65% impervious, do you count the property that's considered to be floodway?
Our ordinance is set up, I believe they get credit for that unless it's in an easement. I can't answer. Each district is a little bit different. Like the watershed we have set up a little bit different.
So,
I understand what you're saying. I have the map. I have that. Oh, okay.
Yes, Greg has provided us with that. Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, yeah,
Because
I know the answer.
Whether it's included in the calculation of,
I believe they get credit. Wait,
Take now. For the base ratio.
did you?
No,
We did.
we did, and it's not.
Yes, I don't think it is for this district. See, each requirement's a little different based on each district, so.
the other point that I would
We will
make.
look at how-
Yeah, you need, obviously you need to look at that. The other point is this goes that way.
Mhm.
So the people from Chalfont Borough probably need to be aware of these conversations as well, because they're going to get the downstream effect of anything from these properties that are developed that is not contained with a robust stormwater management system.
Yeah, understood. And I think that's why your stormwater
Shelby
ordinance
Creek
is so,
down the Shelby.
so tough. It takes that into
It
account.
goes that way.
Yeah, because,
So this is
Mhm.
going to go right down.
Go along the railroad
Right.
and down Shufflenburg
thank you.
and into whatever that park is.
Yes.
Yeah, so everybody out, it's, the flow is from County Line Road on the left of the plan to the right. Towards Schoolhouse.
Any other public comment? Okay, Board of Supervisors comment? Stephanie, do you want to start?
Um, I mean, I think that you guys are trying to stay out of the floodplain. I acknowledge that. I think that's important to us to make sure that we do. And obviously we've heard the stormwater concerns, and I understand what our ordinance says about that already. You guys are taking that into account with the basins. I think you had asked a specific question about building heights, and what our position would be on that. I think we have approved higher buildings and not too far from this site. If we can comply with everything else, then I would at least be willing to consider the variance for building heights. But I think we have to really be careful to comply everywhere else too.
We agree with that.
That's all I have.
Bill?
I know we're just in the exploration point of this, but my biggest concern is Walnut Street, what you're planning on doing there, what you're thinking of doing there. Because that basically is a cow path
Mhm.
that was paved over, and
Right.
paved over and paved over,
Quite literally, yes.
Yeah.
and that would not take trucks.
No,
It's bad enough that they have, the buses, they sometimes have to run with SEPTA.
Right.
But in no way is that road even qualified for.
right. And we acknowledge that, and that's something we're going to have to improve along the entire frontage, pretty much all the way out to county line.
Anything else?
Well, I noticed in the back of lot 1, you have, of course, God knows how many stalls there for trucks.
Right.
And I see you have an area that's cordoned off behind there. It looks like that's for what, pulling trucks in and backing them in, or what is that area there?
That trailer parking in the back there.
Trailer.
So typically with these types of warehouse users, when you get to a certain size, they unhitch the truck and leave the trailer in certain spots. So we like to make sure there's designated locations in the site, so it's not randomly placed throughout the site. So that's why you see additional trailer parking. Some facilities just use the loading docks as their parking areas, but when you get to a certain size, we anticipate the requirement from the user to have extra trailer parking.
Okay?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Well, that's my only question at this point in time.
So I live down the road from here,
Mhm.
other direction. And a major issue on County Line Road, it is a PennDOT road.
Right.
So obviously PennDOT controls all of that. Just because it's a PennDOT road does not mean it's an ideal road to have giant tractor trailers coming and turning onto it
Mhm.
from these tiny little roads. And in fact, there's an intersection which is part New Britain, part, who would be the other one? Hatfield, part Hatfield, owned, jointly owned. And there's accidents there all the time. And it's a road I need to come out to access. And they're coming in and they're turning to get down onto County Line to come down this pathway because it's one of the few places that tractor trailers are allowed to turn. Why they're allowed to turn there, I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense, but I don't run PennDOT.
Mhm.
So this would only be increasing that traffic. And in addition to what Bill's comments were regarding Walnut Street not being capable of holding that, I do have concerns about where these trucks are because they're going to be routing from, they're following their MapQuest or the Google Maps or whatever it is, Waze. And they're following all of that to get to the places. They don't know that this ridiculous tiny thing where it says you can turn is almost impossible to turn from despite PennDOT putting a block that everybody ignores and still drives through, and then the tractor trailers can't get through. It's an extremely dangerous situation, so I have concerns about the increase of tractor trailers specifically. I'd almost rather it be those teeny tiny prime vehicles for me personally, which I know is kind of
Yeah,
wild, but
I
because
understand.
because like, yes, but they're smaller and they can make those turns, whereas you have the giant, what's it, an 18-wheeler?
Mhm.
They bend only a little bit and then that rest of that is not bending. So my question would be like, what is the volume? Because you don't have tenants.
So-
We're still at a 10,000 foot.
Even though we assign certain accepted trip generations for the general warehouse use. I think it's Institute of Transportation Engineers Class 150 or something like that, where they have thousands of points of data for similar type uses as terms of what the trips are generated from that use. That's what PennDOT requires you to use. In fact, PennDOT doesn't allow you to use specific projects that you've developed before. They require to use that number. That number then goes into all the traffic improvement analysis, the Warren analysis, the lanes and everything. So we will have those numbers that gets reviewed by the township as well. It goes to PennDOT. Obviously, they're the ones who review and approve it. Before that all happens, though, we talk about a scoping application with PennDOT on intersections. And if the township has questions or concerns about certain intersections, then the township has the ability to put that input to PennDOT. And then PennDOT ultimately tells us what to study. So just like you said, PennDOT does whatever they want to do. They tell us to do whatever it is they want to do too. So we can look at those aspects during the traffic analysis. And we can take into account the Walnut Street stuff. I mean, there will be a lot of work on Walnut Street on this frontage. There's just no question. It's to our benefit as the user of the warehouses to be able to get the trucks in and out safely and efficiently and not create any accidents or traffic issues, because then the trucks can't get in and out, not just the cars having issues coming through the neighborhood. So
I'll chime in there, the board's aware of this, and I had outlined before, we had discussed it in our first kind of informal review process between us. Walnut Street is restricted by ordinance of truck traffic, so they're aware of that now. We weren't all aware of that at the very beginning. They've agreed to have all traffic go to County Line Road. Nothing will go to Schoolhouse Road.
Right.
As part of that, you'll need to amend the ordinance to allow trucks on Walnut Street. And as part of that, I'm sure they've already agreed to work with us and PennDOT on rebuilding Walnut Street, any of the infrastructure, widening, curb sidewalks,
you name it.
the culvert that actually is where in between lot 1 and 2,
Mhm.
there's a culvert there. They'll need to look at that, how much to extend it or replace it. I don't want to go too far, but they pretty much agreed that they'll rebuild that as necessary
Yeah.
for the township's liking and approval. to allow trucks there to meet all your current ordinances unless amended. And then they would request to amend that ordinance to allow trucks then to exit Walnut and go out the County Line Road.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that. I discussed a preliminary with staff, and no one has an issue as long as it's done right, rebuilt,
Right.
and meets all our current standards for truck traffic.
And that was one of the other reasons why we were trying to make sure that Lot 3 goes out to Independence as opposed to out to Stewart and then down Schoolhouse, because we didn't want truck traffic coming down there. So we've really focused on coming up through Independence as well. Same reason, so that the main improvements would all be along Walnut Street, headed out to County Line Road.
I'll also add on that easement is township-owned easement that was planned 4 years ago with the original development.
Mhm.
I don't know if the residents are aware of that or not, but so they're honoring, and that was done to avoid trucks going anywhere else. So they have an easement there, township easement, to build access out to Independence Lane to go out through the boulevard. And then as well, they're not going to be connecting, but on the top right of the plan, there's another 50-foot easement that the township owns out to Stewart Lane. I'm going to recommend they meet with the fire marshal pretty soon if they want to move forward to see if he would want emergency access out to Stewart Lane.
Yeah, right.
I don't see a need to build an entire road out to that way. Trucks are not allowed out on Schoolhouse Road anyway. So they're willing to do any type of emergency access as recommended by the fire marshal. We control that right away, up right into the property line of Lot 3. So that was discussed at staff level about a month ago.
Craig, do you know if Hatfield also has truck restrictions on Walnut Street
On their portion.
on their portion? I would imagine they have to, because the turns and curves they have there are not.
Oh.
Do you know?
They have a facility right there that I think
Yeah, I
has
mean-
trucks.
Very large track. That's on Walnut.
That's Dan.
I don't know how far back.
There's the Dorman properties. I'm just not.
Yeah,
sure
I'm sure
where
that
they're
they have,
at.
they're allowed for
You're not
doing.
gonna, yeah, there's when you go back and you continue towards 309 that way, there's
Oh.
less than 90-degree S-turn, we'll say. I mean,
Yes,
you're
you-
almost coming back twice.
You can't get trucks
Yeah.
back. in.
I think they have access out to come out to County Line Road.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So I'm going to follow up, starting with what Bridget said. When you head up County Line Road
Western.
west,
Yeah.
for some reason they call it west, and you get to the intersection where it meets 309.
Right.
I think originally it actually went up to 309. PennDOT in their wisdom came in and decided to make an uphill left-hand turn, one lane, maybe two, to get out the 309. Also not truck friendly.
Right.
Basically
It's
not
not-
car friendly,
it's
but
not-
it's not truck friendly
Yeah.
either. So I'm just wondering, when a warehouse company comes in who might be interested in these, do they look at the surrounding roadways and
Yes.
say this works or this doesn't work?
Yes, yes, we do. We also look
The
at
builder, I'm talking about the people. that-
drivers, yes. Yeah, well, we actually, based on the typical user that we would be marketing to, we would make sure that that truck can get to the site. Otherwise, the site's not viable. There's plenty of other locations, especially in some industrial areas where, take your old Bethlehem Steel type plants that have closed, where you can't get trucks through because they were all based on rail, right? So you look at that and you say, okay, that's not a feasible site.
What I'm trying to get to is I do not want to have this built
And then not.
and then have it sit there empty.
Oh, well, we don't want that either. So we have a mutual interest here. But these road improvements and the road analysis are the things that we will really look at in detail, obviously.
I'm going to dive down a little more detail here.
Sure.
First of all, what you're asking for are 3 variances,
That's right, one for each building,
2 special exceptions.
one special exception. The special exception would just be for Lot 2 to place fill in the floodplain. We don't have the need for special exceptions for Lot 1 or Lot 3 because we're not putting anything into the floodplain there.
Yeah, just be Lot 2.
So it would just be Lot 2, and it's just the northwestern corner.
Okay. 3 waivers.
Uh, Well, it would be 3 variances for height.
Well, I'm just,
She jumped over the weight to.
Oh, you're looking at the letter. I apologize.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the ordinance changed.
Right, well, the plan has been changed some, so I don't know whether those waivers still apply or not. Craig has not reviewed. We've made some revisions.
Okay.
So we were just
So
focusing.
just pointing out that you're asking for quite a few changes and that they have to, most of them have to be granted by the zoning hearing board, which is a separate. entity.
Yes, yeah, and that would be the height and then the special exception for the floodplain. So it would be 4 separate requests for relief, 3 being the same, which is the height for the buildings.
Sure.
So
Craig, you also refer to special exceptions plural. Let me go through this.
he looked at a plan that
I did not
actually
review this
showed.
newer plan.
Right.
Oh,
I
okay.
reviewed the 2 prior, the one in your packet, I did informal review real quickly
Mhm.
because it was in your packet.
We tightened the sites up. We tightened the sites up to pull buildings, to pull parking areas as much as possible out on lots 1 and 3. So what Craig reviewed had further encroachments. So as we've done this, each sketch plan and concept plan we've done, we've tried to respect the natural resource areas more.
They
And
started listening to me more.
we
That's
understand.
a very smart move because our engineer knows how we do
I've
things.
worked with him for a few years. I know when he says something, I'm supposed to listen.
Yeah.
So
I would
try to,
highly
we try.
Recommend it.
I would
Yeah.
recommend that to
I
you.
agree. I agree.
And I'm looking at the plan and I'm looking at all this trailer parking all around these buildings.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it looks like you have more trailer parking on lot 3 than you do on lot 1, although I can't
So-
swear to that because you have an entirely separate
Right,
parking area.
right. We put that in the upper right-hand corner, out of the floodplain, away from the wetlands as well.
So I would like to just further add, it is absolutely essential we're not disturbing the wetlands.
Yes.
And it cannot, if like your proposal to build up out of the floodplain, that was a smart thought, because if it's just in the floodplain, we can't have anything, because the water issue is so significant in our township, and with these storms increasing in severity, and County Line Road, we have residences, if you go a little, not that much further down.
Yeah.
They get a heavy rain and their yards are flooded.
Yeah.
So we don't want to create any further disturbances. And then the other major concern would be the truck traffic and making sure everything's accessible and we're not increasing any kind of safety issues for our
Understood.
residents.
Understood.
So that's where I'm coming from, just
Okay.
to.
And
Thank you.
as I was hitting at, I don't know that all of this parking
It's okay.
is necessary.
Well,
I'd like to see it cut down. It seems to be, one thing I detest seeing anywhere is acres and acres of asphalt that is never used.
we can look at the car parking. Okay, so that was one of the things that's generated by your ordinance. I know I think just reduced some of it with your most recent amendment.
We just went, that was one of the original variances, I think the first one.
That's right.
Yes.
One space for every 250 square feet. Your new ordinance, per our recommendation, went to 1 space per 1,000 square feet to reduce impervious and to reduce where you're going.
Yes.
All right, so it allows there's still provision to allow reserve parking, or we can keep it in grass. We can look into that if that's something the
Right.
board wants.
And these warehouses they're not like manufacturing facilities, right? So you're not talking about 300 person, prime shift. So we can
Like on
look at
lot
that.
3, it's hard to see for the res, but the top right corner is a satellite parking area.
That's all trailer parking.
Oh, is that trailer?
That's
Yeah.
trailer parking.
Yeah.
I thought that was it.
But in addition to the trailer parking that's behind the building.
But if you like to.
Well, that's not trailer parking, that's loading behind 3,
Let's
and
just-
that's car in the front. So we had to have a number of car spots for every building separately. The stuff that is shown with the white or gray underlying,
That's your.
that's
loading.
all loading. Correct.
And okay, so depending where you're talking about front or back, the back I would assume is the loading area.
Correct. I
And
guess
then you
on this
have the
one.
separate trailer parking area.
That's right. And we have a small separate trailer parking area for lot 2 as well. It's very tiny. It's behind the
I
loading.
see it. Mhm.
Yeah. So we try to provide some trailer parking for all the facilities, but the one that's the largest was the one I was highlighting before, was lot 1. And that's obviously, given the size of the building, we would expect more empty trailers or trailers that have to be unloaded and then loaded, reloaded, et cetera. So we try to create workable locations to have the trailer parking out of the way.
Another question is the requirement for park and recreational area.
I was just, that's probably the last big one.
Right. So, I mean, we're looking at potentially doing a fee in lieu. The area that's located near Schoolhouse and Walnut, where we have our stormwater, is our low point. So that's where the stormwater should go. There's also some potential endangered species protected habitat there that you can't disturb as well. So that's really not an area for development of or use of any kind. We'll get into that more in land development.
What sensitive species is?
There's a red-bellied turtle. Cooter? Cooter. Red-bellied cooter.
Have you done, because you know that part of this land is
Yeah.
polluted?
Yes.
Okay.
Part of it is under EPA?
It's partially in a Superfund.
Superfund, yes. But it wasn't from this site.
Oh, I know
Right,
that. I know
right,
that.
right.
I-
But yes, this is that area down on the right hand. That's the eastern corner of the property along Schoolhouse Road.
Okay.
That is considered to be the habitat, if you can believe it or not, as a result of the agricultural use of the property and keeping the grasses low, that the turtles come out, as from what I've been told, out of the riparian corridor, and then they use that area for their habitat, and then they migrate back down. So there's really nothing we can do there. That's why if you had said to us, improve Schoolhouse Road frontage too, we'd tell you that's going to be a problem. So we've left that whole strip between the stormwater basin and Schoolhouse Road untouched.
You also have a water main coming up that section too.
It may be possible there might be something underneath.
Yeah.
So I found it very interesting when we talked to the expert and they looked at it, said, no, this is exactly the type of habitat they like. And they found evidence, I think, of it using that area. So,
But you've already done a survey and?
yes, yeah.
Have you done a tree survey also?
We haven't done a complete one on the site yet. We've been looking at it. Those will actually, we'll have to, as part of the application, include that information and then go through that. By staying out of the large riparian corridors, though, we believe we're, not disturbing. Obviously, the wooded areas, the whole rest of the property's been pretty much farmed for a long period of time, so.
When you said you were considering possibly leaving one area to be farmed, which area were
Oh.
you referring to?
Wherever you're seeing the green areas now that were farmed currently, that are farmed currently. So we're open to, having strips of farm behind the parking area between that and the riparian corridor, or the area, I think it was Craig who said the one off of Stewart.
Stewart Lane?
Yeah, we have no issues. Those can continue to be farmed, even with this development going in. The other alternative is that there may be better uses stormwater wise and erosion and sedimentation control wise that those areas could be put into, whether it's a wildflower mix or some other type of vegetation that could help reduce rate of runoff and or volume.
Well, I'm just going to say, we have concerns.
Mhm.
And the best advice I can give you, although I shouldn't be giving you advice, is to listen to our engineer.
Understood.
He knows where we're going and what we're looking for. I am concerned the number of exceptions and waivers and variances that you're requesting.
More you can reduce that.
Well, I really don't think it's that many. It's height. It's just 3 buildings. If I had one property, if I merged them all together, it'd be one variance, right?
Yeah,
So,
there's the same variance. I mean, they're gonna have to get processed because they're different lots, but it's one for building height and then basically one for floodplain.
yeah, and that's a special exception, not a variance. I consider them different. I mean, Scott will agree. I consider a special exception, neither special nor exception.
You'll still get their input.
I know, that's why we're here.
It doesn't really matter what you call it. So the only planning or big planning that probably Lindsay wants result, like So we just took out the fee in lieu for Park and Rec per the request of every committee, the board, the planning commission. So so the first applicant in under the new ordinance is gonna ask for a fee. If not, it's an impact on the layout. If they don't grant you the waiver to do a fee, do you have any idea where you could fit that in?
Well, we have plenty of open space, especially off of Stewart Lane.
Yes, okay,
I mean,
that's what I
you,
figured.
you
Okay.
could do some type of public rec in that location
That's where I was. Okay.
if you really wanted it. Let me say this, and I know it's totally up to you guys. My experience with industrial development and park and rec is that they don't go well together. Now, this may be an exception, given where that area is. It might be segmented enough away. But generally, when you try to put a park and rec facility next to an industrial development, you get a lot of conflicts between trucks and cars, and the usage isn't pristine. It doesn't work that great.
You
But-
are aware of what's across Walnut Street.
Yes, I am. I am. I'm telling you.
Great.
I have,
Surrounded by
I have right, I know. I have a project in Delaware County that was a recreation area that was zoned industrial. It's now becoming a warehouse, and there was a big push to keep recreation in the middle of the warehouse facility development. And everybody at the end finally said, well, what's going to happen when the kids have their ball games and the trucks are coming at the same time? How does that work? And we all looked at each other and said, it doesn't work. So we're open to discussion is the place where we are. And if you want us to look at putting something there, that is a good place to put it as best as you can on this property, given the circumstances, the natural resources, the access, et cetera.
So I'm gonna make a recommendation just because I know where it's gonna
Run
go.
into- yeah.
Conceptually, the next time, I think the next step's gonna be a sketch plan submission.
Mhm.
We're gonna fine tune everything, and I think we need to, you need to start looking at how all the waivers then, getting more of the engineering, because
Right.
no one's mentioned specimen tree, but another change was specimen trees, and I'm assuming around the house, there's gonna be some large trees.
We'll have to look at that too, yeah.
I think that's gonna impact, where the building is, but, so there's waivers like that that can impact the layout. I would conceptually show the acreage that you need based on your proposal just in that area. So we can show the board and planning commission, EAC members, you can do it if, here's where it would be. You don't have to engineer anything.
No, we just lay it out
Just
conceptually.
show the area.
Yeah, I mean, we'd probably look right at that Stewart Lane location,
That's fine.
so. All right, well, we really do appreciate your comments and giving us the opportunity to address you this evening. It's very helpful. And Craig will let us know if you have any other questions that come to mind as well as we go through this process.
Sure.
Right, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Moving on, we have a motion to consider consent agenda.
Bring the thing in. Here you. I think probably just because everyone's leaving.
Yeah, just let,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I don't have to read it?
Yeah. But I agree. Thank you. but
Go ahead, you
keep it
read.
up.
Oh, I was just waiting till all the kerfluffle is calmed down a bit. Okay, we have item A, to approve the minutes of August 18th, 2025, Board of Supervisors minutes. B, to approve the minutes of the August 29th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting. C, to approve regular bill list as follows. Okay, this does not have my numbers in there.
What's that? Are these the correct numbers?
Yes,
Yes,
probably.
there you go.
Okay, dated August 21st, 2025, in the amount of $215,246.90. Bills list dated August 28th, 2025, in the amount of $15,077.48. Bills list dated September 4th, 2025, in the amount of $6,895.18. And the bills list dated September 10th, 2025, in the amount of $21,656.11. And E, to approve the escrow release number 1 for 38 East Peace Valley Road, LaBruzzi project, in the amount of $27,065.00. I have a motion.
Oh, did you put the December 10th in the amount of 94,000?
September, oh,
Tenth.
this one right here,
Regular bill.
the first one.
Oh, I'm sorry, dated
it-
September 10th in the amount of $94,582.71.
I was reading from my computer. I apologize. It's hard.
I'll make that motion now to approve.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Are there any questions? Any comment? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. Moving on to action items, are going to consider a motion to approve the New Britain Township Pension Plan 2026 minimum municipal obligation. Dan?
Yes, every year before September 30th, the board needs to authorize or approve the minimum municipal obligation for the following year. Our actuaries prepared it. The number for to be contributed in the pension plan is $117,470. We received that money from the state. Actually, we will be receiving the money for this year's pension contribution. We got notified we'll get it in the last week of September.
Okay.
And then that money will go in. As soon as we receive it, we'll just transfer it over to the pension fund. This is basically just certifying what the number is for next year.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second?
Any questions, comments from the board or the public? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. B, consider a motion to approve the waiver of land development for 241 West Butler Avenue Tractor Supply. Greg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the same project. Nothing has changed since your last meeting where you approved the conditional use for the outside storage areas for the Tractor Supply located at 241 West Butler Avenue. We did prepare a review letter September 8th, 2025. And I believe Scott, myself, and Dan received an email from their council agreeing to all those conditions or comments in my letter. So I'm recommending, staff's recommending you approve the waiver of land development for 241 West Butler Avenue, subject to complying with all conditions in my September 8th, 2025 review letter.
Someone?
The applicant's engineer, I believe, is here. There he is. He's here to answer any questions. It's the same plan, so they didn't bring their whole team.
I need to interject myself because.
Sure. Can I have a motion to that effect?
Oh, I'll make that motion to consider the motion to approve the waiver of land development for 241 West Butler Ave Tractor Supply.
And he was here just in case any resident had any questions. I know you've seen the plan, so if anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? Any questions or comments from the gentleman who appeared?
It's easy. I told him it would be an easy night.
I call the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Ever had it.
C, consider a motion to award the recommendation for the salt bid.
Gonna say, yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Each year we go in with the Bucks County Consortium to purchase our salt for the upcoming winter season. This year will be 25 to 26. The low bidder is Morton Salt at a price of $61.86 per ton. That is an increase of 91 cents per ton from the previous year. And yes, it's the same Morton Salt that you see on the blue.
When it rains, it pours.
They, to me, if you've ever seen a facility down Baldwin, when you drive by, there's a huge mountains of salt that are right there in the harbor. That's where it comes in from.
Oh, okay.
Comes in the-
They ship it.
It gets shipped up.
Fascinating.
Crazy to look at night too.
Yeah.
It's a glow.
Yeah, it basically glows.
Close.
There's always construction, so all the lights are from everywhere shining onto it.
Make a motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments or concerns? from the public or from the board? Call the motion. All those in favor? Aye. D, motion, consider a motion to prepare and advertise ordinance 2025-06, modification NBT non-uniform pension ordinance. Dan?
Yes, back in the spring, if you recall, I asked the board if we could have a cost study done to make some improvements to the non-uniform pension plan. Over the years, the outstanding stewardship and investment returns to the plan have enabled us to take a look to see if we could make some improvements. We looked to see if we could lower the number of years of service to get a 50% pension. Currently, it's 40 years to get a 50% pension, which means the multiplier is 1.25 for every year of service. Our actuary, CBIZ, did the study. I've attached that to this. We did run this by the pension committee and they unanimously approved the change. So we are asking the board to change the pension, authorize Scott to prepare an ordinance to change the non-uniform pension ordinance to 2% for a multiplier of 25 years of service. So you would receive a 50% pension on your normal retirement date after 25 years of service.
And I believe there is an additional cost to the township for this. Again, I have a motion.
I'll make a motion
To approve?
to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. I'm so sorry, I'm tired.
Bill second. Okay. Any comment or?
Wait, or is this I'm sorry, is this a motion to prepare and
Yeah,
advertise?
I'm just-
Sorry, yeah.
Make me
just-
create it.
yes. Make and create it, sorry,
Make them work.
clarifying that.
Okay. And second? Still? Stephanie?
Make a choice.
Okay.
Pick one.
Someone has to say something. Come on.
Well, I said it, Stephanie said it, so pick.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And finally, number E, we're going to consider a motion to improve the implementation of an unmanned aerial system, UAS, program for the police, otherwise known as a drone. Chief?
Yes, that's what I was going to start with. This is just, we want to get a drone for the police department. So in the memo, I've outlined the benefits of getting a drone for the township. Search and rescue, we've had a few incidents over the past year where we've actually called in outside departments with drones to assist with searching for missing individuals. One of the things as we had the presentation tonight that crossed my mind is we can actually put it up for truck enforcement. We can see where trucks are going and where they're not supposed to be going. And our truck inspector can then get to where they're at and do an inspection.
Make them follow the agreement, the law, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, this is just another step to modernizing the police department. It's an extra tool that, is obviously beneficial in many ways. We have $15,000 left in our capital line items that we didn't spend on. We got our surveillance or our speed trailer and some license plate readers that are up at various intersections. So we had this money left over. We felt that this would get us in at like kind of the entry level of drones. We're not looking at the cream of the crop, I guess you could say, but just something so we can get used to it, become familiar with it, make sure the operators are comfortable with it before we decide to go with maybe an upgraded version of a drone, which we could possibly utilize grant funding for.
We've already got it.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the expended or the implementation of the UAS program.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Any board comment? I just have one comment, and that is I hope it has a GPS on it in case it goes rogue, so we can find it.
That's actually a good thought.
Maybe put an Apple AirTag on it or something.
Apple AirTag on it.
Yeah, just
Pop an air tag on it so we can find it.
What the heck?
You lose it, it gets stuck.
You'll put an Apple AirTag on it. We'll be able to-
Just duct tape it to the, yeah,
Duct tape.
duct tape it.
See?
Okay, I call the
They know what I
motion.
go through. Make sure you have that on there, chief. If you didn't think of that already.
I call the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Information items, departmental reports. Dan, you're taking a bunch.
Yeah, I'll do it. Finance report, as you can see, Kristen did a cover memo this time and you hit all the highlights. I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding it. We are, again, on track with both revenues and expenditures. We're a little ahead of pace on revenue and spending a little less than we should on, not should, that you would
Yes.
project on a monthly basis.
Always
for
good news.
We do have several large expenditures coming up, but they're both reimbursables. One being the pension and the other being the fire tax. We get both those monies in and then we just pass them right through. They go right out. So, but all in all, the budget or the finance report is looking good. One of the things that we do, our transfer tax, we received our August payment after the report was done. But we got another $68,000, which was kind of split pretty evenly between new and existing. So we are tracking fairly well on the transfer tax, and we hope that the rate cut that's going to come tomorrow, I guess Wednesday, will reduce mortgage rates even more now that they've dropped under 6 for the first time in a while. They're probably going to drop a little bit more, so we should see some more activity.
Park and Rec?
You're cutting grass. It's the end of their busy season with the grass cutting. And with the rain, the lack of rain over the last 5 weeks has kind of slowed it down, which is.
I would hope.
If you remember, July was extremely wet. So, and they are doing some of the other projects that they were required to do. And Bill did put in he's looking for a piece of equipment and he put a little page in here what that equipment could do. It's the 3rd page of his report with the Kuro Dingo.
Oh, and he demoed it, right?
Demoed it, yes. So he will talk about that at our budget meeting.
Okay.
He just put it just to show you what it's capable of doing.
Okay.
And Ryan, his crew, we're doing the road paving is underway right now. As part of that, they went through and took care of all the inlets that needed to be raised and maintained prior to the road pavings. They got that done. Right now, they are over at the Coleman Trail doing the final stabilization. And once they finish there, we'll go over to Keller Bridge and finish up that project.
Okay. Hopefully the lack of rain will help out with that.
Yeah, actually, it worked out. Even though we did the first phase back in late May, early June, when the water was kind of high, by using the sandbags, they were able to divert the channel and were able to get in and do the work rather cleanly and not cause disturbance in the stream. But and both the Conservation District and DEP were very appreciative of that effort. That's all for me.
Okay, police, chief?
Yes, you have my report in front of you. I'd just like to highlight a couple of things. I mentioned the ALPR technology that we purchased earlier this year. Actually has resulted in 2 retail theft cases we solved using that technology. So it's been
If
paying
I-
off for us.
If I may, that's the license plate reader,
Yes.
for
Excellent.
anyone that doesn't know what that stands for.
And then it's going to be a busy weekend for us.
Yes, it is.
Very. Okay, engineers report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have our September's engineers report. I would like to highlight the stormwater MS4, which is mentioned, I guess, on the first page there, the first item. We're required by the state to give an update for your MS4, so this is it. I will keep it very brief. Janine is preparing, I believe Tim might be helping out a little bit too. I sit in the audience. Tim and Janine are finalizing your annual report, and that'll be issued, has to be issued by the end of September. So That will be taken care of. We also just submitted a memo to Mr. Fox with a recommendation based on a couple staff meetings on your next, hopefully, next MS4 project, if you approve it and put it in your budget for the next 4 years, because it's quite large. So we're recommending we phase this into a 4-year project. The first year would be like we've done in the past: survey, design, engineering, permitting. And then we'll look at construction phases to spread out the costs. It's $1 million project for New Britain Township is quite a big apple.
Yes.
Other townships, it's not. And that's a little bit why I mentioned before, you're a little deficient in your load reduction. When I say load reduction, that's all the pollutants that from a new project, like Margaret talks about as well, on the stormwater impact from the new buildings. Back in 2017, you were required to reduce 215,000 pounds per year. After the Brittany Stream project, you reduced that by another 50, so we're down to 165,000. So we're still deficient, but one project, which we're recommending would meet all that. And we're recommending the Crescent Drive, Walden Way Basin retrofit, and stream realignment. Now Dan has to look at this and he'll discuss it with you at the budget meetings. What we would do is retrofit the basin, remove all the invasive species, bring everything up to modern standards as far as the outlet structure, how the basin floor is graded and the outlet structure is currently configured, make those changes. But the biggest change would be to separate the stream. There's a stream that actually runs through there, parallels Walden Way, that goes into the basin, and that's a no-no in today's standards. I used to design that back in the 90s, where you'd have a stream, you dam it off, and that becomes your stormwater control facility. So they're not permitted anymore. I have another municipality doing that as well, where they reroute the stream. So that's quite expensive when we actually take a stream and we reroute it around the basin, fix up the basin, and then do the stream corridor kind of repair and buffer plan, kind of similar to what we did with Brittany Drive. So we separated the stream, the basin, the design, permitting, engineering into like a four-year program. And you guys can decide how you want to allocate money in each year, and we'll go from there. So that would be your proposed project for the next 4-year program. I mentioned about the annual permit, and then what we need to do, if that is approved as your plan moving forward, we need to amend your MS4 plan next year. You technically have to re-advertise it that you're adding that project to the plan. It's a DEP requirement. So I'll guide you through that once Janine guides me through what needs to be done next year. So typically you just have to say, hey, we're adding another project where we change the project. We may have some others we may put in the list that we haven't done yet. That way you're covered in case you want to go to project 2 or 3.
Okay.
So
I do know that the EAC, I think, had some projects in mind. I can't recall them offhand, but it's part of the budget that was submitted.
And there's one, I mean, DP is so tough. There's one she was mentioning about, I forget, the plantings that Mr. Jones had done and trying to get DP to qualify that. But just doing plans alone is very difficult to get load reduction for sediment.
Yeah.
It has to be a larger scale project. But I told her maybe we start submitting some of those smaller, see what they say. It can't hurt to include it. If they say no, they say no.
Okay. The Crescent Drive, that's across from Veterans Park, correct?
Yeah. Not.
Would any of this help with the flooding problem at Veterans?
I wouldn't, this is more water quality
Okay.
than it is water quantity
Gotcha.
or volume.
Okay.
Anytime you update a facility, it's going to improve the overall, drainage area, because now you're controlling it better. Should be able to hold back more water. So yeah, I would say it will not hurt. It will definitely be some benefit to the downstream. So.
Okay. That's the end of our reports. Any board or supervisor comments? Bridget, I'll start with you.
I will unfortunately not be here, but I hope everybody has fun at the Fall Fest on Saturday. I would like to thank in advance our police, our public works, our township staff, all the volunteers, and then all of our supervisors who will be able to attend. And hopefully it's a successful day and the weather is wonderful. It was beautiful last year, so I hope it's just as lovely. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really nice. So
Bill?
Well, I will try to be here on Saturday, so hopefully I'll be here for at least part of the fall festival, so we'll see how things go. But again, I think it'll be well received and hopefully the traffic in the area won't be too horribly bad considering what's going on up at the shrine again. So we'll hope and pray that we still can get traffic through. Okay.
Stephanie?
I'll just echo what everyone else said.
Okay, okay. And I too I plan on being at the Fall Fest. I hope to be at the Fall Fest. I just want to thank everyone that planned it, the staff and the police and all of the various departments that are going to be helping out and doing it. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors who
yes,
are making it possible
So
for
support.
Fall Fest. And their names will be on the banners at Fall Fest, so you can see them. I'd mentioned some, but I don't want to leave anybody out. Any public comment on anything that was not on the agenda? Okay, they're being up.
We did get a news article in the Herald on the pollinator garden.
Ms.
Yes, go ahead.
Briggs, could you come up and identify yourself and speak into the microphone so everyone else can hear you?
Mary Margaret Briggs, 245 Forest Park Drive. Just pointing out that we had an article in the Herald on the pollinator garden, and they did a nice article and a nice picture. It was nice.
Thank you. I don't know if any of you saw our picture with,
And that's 2 weeks in a row that we were in the Herald
Yeah.
with different things.
yes, yes. With the gentleman from the shrine. I'm never sure what thank you. Yes, Father Provincial. That's okay. Announcements. Park and Rec Committee will be meeting Tuesday, September 16th at 7 p.m. The Veterans Committee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September 17th has been canceled. Canceled.
Canceled, yep.
The Zoning Hearing Board meeting for Thursday, September 18th at 7 p.m. has also been canceled. Our annual Fall Festival will be at North Branch Park this Saturday, September 20th from 10 to 3 p.m. The Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, September 22nd has been canceled. The Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, September 23rd has been canceled. The Environmental Advisory Council will meet on Wednesday, October 1st at 7 p.m. here. Their mobile office hours for our state representatives, Shelby Labs and Representative Brian Monroe, will be held here at the Township Building Wednesday, October 8th at 10 a.m. 10 to noon, I think they're usually here. The Veterans Committee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m.
I still believe that's happening. Yep.
Okay. And we have a zoning hearing board meeting scheduled for Thursday, October 16th at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion for adjournment at 8:14 p.m.?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you for attending.